The old stone mansion, known to the world as Windsor Castle, stood as an imposing silhouette against the leaden sky of Berkshire. Founded in the 11th century by William the Conqueror, it had been the home of English royalty for nearly 1,000 years, a testament to solidity and historical continuity. However, in the 21st century, its age was becoming its greatest weakness. Give it a like, subscribe, and share. Let's begin. Engineers had noted a worrying increase in rising damp in the lower sections of the Round Tower and St. George's Chapel. Modern technology detected structural anomalies, indicating irregular ground settlement, a serious problem for a structure weighing hundreds of tons. After months of deliberation, and with the tacit approval of Queen Elizabeth II, a monumental decision was made to conduct a deep diagnostic excavation beneath the oldest foundations, in the area known as the Lower Ward. The team tasked with the job was a unique blend of archaeologists from Oxford University, geotechnical engineers from 6 different countries, and security personnel from the British royal household. Leading the effort was Dr. Eleanor Vance, a middle-aged archaeologist with a reputation for relentless precision and a healthy skepticism towards historical mysticism. Her goal was to find air pockets, or subterranean water flows, not lost relics. The excavation began slowly in the spring, using non-invasive surveying technology before the first shovel touched the earth. The first weeks were disappointing and tedious, dominated by layers of Victorian rubble, fallen bricks from 17th and 18th century renovations, and a considerable amount of animal bones and garbage dating from the late medieval period. The routine had become monotonous, marked only by the hum of the air extractors and the metallic sound of trowels against the compacted earth. It was at a depth of 6 meters, just below the original level of William the Conqueror's Norman fortress, that Sergeant Davies, the security foreman, halted the work. They had struck something that was neither natural stone nor foundation. The sound was hollow and resonant. The area was directly beneath where the original guard quarters were believed to have been, a place that oral tradition associated with an old well, but which had never been confirmed. Dr. Vance personally descended. After an hour of careful manual removal, she and her assistant, Mr. Alistair Finch, cleared a surface that revealed not a well, but a massive slab of light grey limestone, approximately 3 meters by 3 meters, carved with a precision that was completely anachronistic. The slab was not of Norman make. Its style and the type of rock did not correspond to anything known in 11th century military architecture. Furthermore, it was perfectly level and sealed with a black, almost asphalt-like resin that had withstood nearly 1,000 years of subterranean moisture. The date and origin of the slab immediately became an enigma. After 3 days of meticulous work to drill and lift the heavy cover, the team found themselves facing a deep, square shaft about 12 meters deep. The air emanating from the cavity was cold, dry, and smelled of mold and something else. Something mineral, metallic, with a hint of stale incense. Dr. Vance, her skepticism still intact, but her scientific curiosity overflowing, ordered a high-resolution camera to be lowered. The images sent to the surface caused absolute silence among the team. The shaft did not end in a dirt bottom, but opened into what appeared to be an artificial gallery, supported by roughly hewn stone arches. The walls of the gallery were covered by a layer of dry mud, but what struck Dr. Vance the most were the tool marks in the stone. They were not the broad chisel marks of the Norman or Saxon eras. They were small, precise, almost as if they had been made with dental instruments rather than masonry tools. After receiving permission from the Queen, who was being briefed on every step of the exploration, the 3-member team, Vance, Finch, and Davies, descended. The gallery measured about 40 meters long and was tall enough for a man to walk upright. On the far wall, they found a low stone door with a single engraving. The engraving was neither a coat of arms nor a Christian symbol, but a double spiral enclosed in a circle. It was a symbol Dr. Vance had only seen in contexts from the Bronze Age or pre-Roman Celtic culture. The door was blocked by an incredibly simple yet ingenious lever mechanism, which, when activated, caused the door to rotate on a marble base, lubricated by a dry but still functional oil. The air inside the newly opened chamber was dense and static. The chamber was small, about 8 meters by 5 meters, but its contents were electrifying. There was no gold or jewelry, but something much more valuable to history: scrolls and artifacts. The scrolls, stacked on carved stone shelves, were dry and astonishingly well preserved, protected by a stable subterranean microclimate. They were not the usual medieval vellum rolls. They were made of a material that looked like incredibly fine leather, flexible like paper, but tough like fabric. Mr. Finch nearly collapsed upon seeing the first inscription. It was not Latin, not Norman, not Anglo-Saxon, nor even the Norse of the Viking invaders. The language was an early, unknown form of a Gaelic or Celtic tongue, which, according to Dr. Finch's initial estimates, dated to the late Roman or post-Roman period, the so-called Dark Ages, a period of British history for which there is very little written evidence. Next to the scrolls, they found 13 metallic objects, arranged in a circle on a central slab. The objects were made of polished bronze or an unknown copper alloy. They were spherical in shape, almost like small meditation orbs, and were engraved with the same double spiral symbol. When touched, they emitted a subtle vibration that felt more like an electric hum than a mechanical resonance. After hours of inventory, the team returned to the surface with a selection of 10 scrolls and 4 of the bronze orbs, sealing the access again. Security was intensified to the maximum, and the discovery was elevated to the level of a state secret. The analysis of the scrolls became the most important decipherment project in recent British history. Dr. Vance convened 8 of the world's most prominent philologists and linguists. After 120 days of incessant work, a crucial breakthrough was achieved. The writing was a lost variant of Brythonic, the language of ancient Britannia. The content of the scrolls was astonishing. They were not tax records or lists of kings. They were detailed chronicles of an organized leadership operating in Britain after the withdrawal of the Roman legions in the year 410. The chronicles described a central figure referred to as the Pendragon, a title rather than a name, who not only unified the British tribes against the Saxon invaders, but also established a governing structure based on meritocracy, community law, and the preservation of ancient knowledge. What Dr. Vance and her team were reading were not legends. They were records of war, politics, and philosophy of a kingdom that, according to official history, never existed with such a degree of sophistication. The dates in the scrolls aligned disturbingly with the period where the legend of King Arthur was gestated. The Pendragon in the texts did not resemble the medieval knight of the poems, but a military strategist and spiritual master with a deep knowledge of astronomy, metallurgy, and notably, vibrational physics. The most shocking revelation centered on the construction of Windsor Castle. The scrolls indicated that the site, in the Dark Ages, was a center of ritual power and a repository of knowledge. The original structure of the hill and moat were not chosen for their military defenses, but for a conjunction of telluric energy lines that converged at that point, making the site an amplifier of consciousness. The text referred to the place as the heart of the island. The Pendragon, according to the writings, had designed the location as a time capsule to preserve knowledge from an impending age of ignorance that he predicted would last 1,000 years, a prediction that alarmingly coincided with the arrival of William the Conqueror in the year 1066, which began the Norman period. The stone slab was not a cover. It was a seal calculated to be broken only when that cycle was complete, or by the intervention of a new millennium consciousness, which they interpreted as modern technology. Give it a like, subscribe, and share. The existence of this organized post-Roman kingdom radically rewrote the transition from Roman Britain to Anglo-Saxon England, suggesting that the fall was much more gradual and that there was a coordinated, intelligent, and successful effort to maintain a high-level culture for more than 3 centuries. The mystery of the 13 metallic objects was addressed next. Material scientists at Imperial College London analyzed one of the bronze orbs. The metal was not just bronze. It was an alloy of copper, tin, and a trace of platinum with a unique crystalline molecular structure, which allowed it to sustain a charge or vibration. The scrolls referred to these orbs as the seals of memory. According to the chronicles, the 13 seals were charged with a coherence frequency that represented the knowledge and vibrational harmony of the Pendragon society. The goal was for these seals to silently emit this frequency at the burial site, keeping the energetic potential of their society dormant until the 1,000-year cycle was complete. Dr. Vance, though initially skeptical about vibrational physics, could not ignore the evidence. A physicist on the team, Dr. Kenji Sato, demonstrated that by placing the seals in their original circular formation, the room's electromagnetic field changed measurably, producing a localized Schumann frequency, the fundamental resonance of the Earth, but with a coherent and harmonic pattern that was unnatural. It was as if the orbs were low-power transmitters that tuned the Earth. The revelation of an advanced kingdom in Britannia during the Dark Ages had two significant implications. A historical one, by filling a 150-year gap in English history, and a scientific one, since the ancient Britons possessed advanced knowledge of physics and energy that modern science is only beginning to understand. The news shocked the Queen and the Prime Minister, as it could alter the historical narrative of the monarchy, symbolized by Windsor Castle. This led to an intense debate between two factions: the conservative one, which advocated hiding the finding to protect the monarchy's legitimacy, and the progressive one, which saw the revelation as an opportunity to offer a new paradigm of leadership and technological advances. Dr. Vance, aware of the weight of the decision, faced a dilemma. After months of deliberation, it was decided to release only 10% of the most harmless findings, while the most valuable texts remained sealed for reasons of national security. Furthermore, the 13 bronze orbs would be studied in secret, with the official story of their finding placed in Scotland, far from the core of English royal identity. Queen Elizabeth II, pragmatic and aware of the impact of the truth, ruled that the knowledge must be introduced to the world gradually. Thus, the secret of the Pendragon kingdom was sealed beneath Windsor Castle, guarded by an oath and the silence of the stone, leaving Dr. Vance with a deep sense of loss and awe. She knew that what had been found beneath Windsor Castle was not just a record of a lost kingdom. It had been a time capsule containing the seed of a different consciousness and the potential to change not only the history of England, but the future of humanity. A secret guarded for 1,000 years beneath the feet of the world's oldest monarchy. Give it a like, subscribe, and share.